Hello, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to Harping on Rugby, where, with the help of some fellow fans, I get the chance to harp on what's going on with Leinster, Ireland, and the wider rugby world. First up, joining me is the current runaway leader in the Harping Prediction League and our resident statistics maestro. Starting to think those two things might be related somehow. Anyway, back for his 39th cap is Mr. Keano Miller. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having us, Jeff. Yeah, there are very few things in this life that can't be solved with either data, beer, or both.
Exactly. And also with us is someone returning for his sixth Harping cap. Hello again to Mr. Hugo Gordon.
Thanks very much for having me back, Jeff.
No problem. Great having you both on. And so now this brings us to our final thoughts, starting with Kino.
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves, that one, really. As much as I love to rely on an old cliche, yeah, we were wasteful in the first half. We did a lot of things actually very well, a lot more of them than I thought we did when I first watched the match back, when I first watched the match live. But we were wasteful. We got into the 22 far more often than I thought we would, but came away with nothing way too many times. Yeah, partly due to England pressure. Their defense was good pretty much throughout. Their attack waned hugely as the match went on, and I think really between the jigs and the reels, what it comes down to is that their game plan was outthought. Um, I mean, the shockwaves that announcing an early team on the Tuesday sent rippled through Irish society didn't quite have the same impact I think they might have hoped it did. And honestly, I think there's a reason they call having three open sides in the back row unbalanced. It's because it is unbalanced. It doesn't work. It's great for some stuff, but even at that, like they gave away the line out completely. Did they gain much in open play? The numbers don't back that up. We forced 16 turnovers through breakdown pressure, including six through dominant tackles, and they did not. I think they got 10 turnovers off of us, maybe for a team that's playing three open sides. You should be getting double what we're getting. Otherwise, what's the point? They had a heavier pack than we did, and yet we're playing a rush blitz. That doesn't make any sense. Why are you playing big lads and mobile lads and you're making them all run really fast? So you're going to get dog legs and tired forwards and a tired pack after half an hour, and then we bring on a really strong bench. And I think that's why we had the really strong bench planned out as we did. It was a bit of reaction as well to the autumn internationals when we probably didn't use the bench as well as we did. I think we used it to its best possible ability in this game. It really does show what we can do with the bench when we need to. Certainly when we tailor it to a team sheet that we've gotten a couple of days early. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I mean, they had to do something different the way it's gone. I mean, they did have that win over us last year, but since then, I think they just had two wins over Japan, either side of a 5 game losing streak. So they really needed to try something different. And like you say, they did, starting early in the week, naming the team, all these extra bits like we're different and fair play, they did it. But just because you do something different doesn't mean it's the right thing. And also, you've got Ireland ready there, laying in wait, ready for them, and we were ready for them eventually. I mean, it took a while for us to get going, but once we did, we were able to exert ourselves on the game and get the scores. And like you say, we had that. We were ready with the better bench. It was an amazing bench for us to bring on anyway, and we just got the most out of it.
Yeah, but I mean, also they were able to keep it tight for the first
Yeah,
half, but then they ended up giving us a 5 point log lead.
yeah,
There's no point in doing that.
yeah.
There's no point in having an heroic first half and then absolutely giving away as many points. Like I wasn't expecting to get a 5 points out of this. I was
No,
hoping for a win.
no,
I was hoping for a good. I was
no.
hoping for a win first, and then a good win, and then
Yeah,
maybe a try bonus, but that seemed unlikely. And
yeah.
they absolutely gave it to us. They handed it to us on a silver platter.
Yeah, well, when you compare it to, was it 2021? Was it during COVID or something? They came to the Viva and they hit us from the start and rolled over us, and we just literally couldn't respond. And I think they were just sort of counting on that happening again. But I think we're just more resilient. We're just better. I think that platform, the line out, the consistent line out platform, even though we didn't always score off it, just to know it's there and you're not nervous going up. You've got a 5 meter line out, whatever, and you at least you're confident you're going to have it. You're going to set yourself up and stuff. I think that helped us. Scrums weren't too bad either. It was just it was we were just able to match what they brought, and that's you can't ask really for more than that, especially if you end up with the bonus point. What did you think, Hugo?
Yeah, I mean, so similar to Kino, like rough first half, much better second half. That second half is the best we've played since at least the tour down South Africa last summer. It's much better than any second half we produced over the autumn, and it's a reminder that I know there has been some angst about Irish rugby, but there's a reminder that when we hit our straps, we are a very very good team. England couldn't deal with it at all. I thought there was some really great performances. I thought Jameson Gibson Park was absolutely phenomenal. Obviously kind of his attacking play, his passing, kicking, we know it's really good. One of the things about watching it back, defensively, he is everywhere in this game. He makes a couple of really big tackles. There's one, you mentioned where he makes a tackle on Freeman, I think, on the wing.
He was the one Irish player with 2 dominant tackles listed in the stats.
Yeah.
And there was only one English player with 2 dominant tackles. That was Ben Earls. They're number 8.
And there was a couple of ones. There's one where he and Doris kind of pick up a Toje and dump him to the ground. There's one where he goes flying into a ruck and clears out the ruck by himself.
Yep.
For a small guy, he just packs so much of a punch, but he is everywhere. The work rate on this guy is phenomenal. And I can fully understand. Sorry,
Yeah, no, it's since he shaved his head. It's like having a small Jason Statham on your team.
he's like the anti-Samson.
Yeah.
But like, so I can fully understand why he was made player of the match. He was brilliant, and kind of, as you say, Jeff, you've got Antoine Dupont doing Antoine Dupont things, but Gibson Park, really, when he's at his best, he really does do some magic things. My personal player of the match would have been James Lowe. He not only is he directly involved in 3 of our 4 tries, you watch it back, he's just everywhere. So many of our good moments during the game, he is involved somewhere. I mentioned earlier, he gave Freeman a horrible time down in that wing. It felt like every time the ball was going out to him, he was beating that first defender. Space was opening up, and they were not able to deal with him. He is obviously only just back from an injury. His game for Leinster against Stormers last week was brilliant. He was brilliant again yesterday. And he just because he was looking a little bit out of sorts over the autumn, I think, and he just looks back to his best. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And then you talked about it, but the bench, having players like Dan Sheehan to be able to come off the bench is amazing. Conan was brilliant. Crowley, I thought, was really, really great when he came back on. And it just gave us that kind of, we didn't have this in the autumn. It felt like we faded out of a lot of games. The bench didn't give the impact we needed it to give. Having that kind of energy come in the 50, 60-minute mark, and England were just not able to deal with it. I do think England played some smart rugby at times. I think they were, they had their moments in that first half. They showed that with good line speed and kind of a good aggression at the ruck, it is possible to disrupt our game. I think the problem is that ultimately they didn't have the kind of the depth or the energy to just keep that up the whole time. And it meant that, they just kind of fell apart in the second half a little bit. They just kind of blown their energy, and that was that. France, I think, will be a different story when we get to them. I think Scotland might well be a different story when we get to them next week. So there's a long way in this tournament still to go, but a very positive start. I didn't think we'd be taking 5 points back from this game. So to start a tournament this way with quite a kind of I think a major statement of a performance. I know those last 2 tries were frustrating, but I think anyone who watched the game will know how dominant we really were in that second half. So it's a great start, and really looking forward to Scotland next week now and seeing how we kick on from here.
Absolutely. And just one last thing on James Lowe. I mean, you mentioned he was lucky he wasn't brought up on running in when that penalty, and you're right. But his face coming out of those shamazzles is brilliant, because you just see, if you see a body, whatever, and everyone's fighting and everyone's angry, but he's got the biggest, broadest grin on his face. Whatever's happening, if he's down on top of someone's hitting him, whatever, he's just smiling as if to say, like, what, just bring it, man. It's a great attitude to have.
If you're doing what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
Oh, one last thing.
Yep.
I love Dan Sheehan. I
Okay.
think everyone here loves Dan Sheehan. But it should be pointed out that with the try he scored, he is now, that was his ninth in the Six Nations. That puts him top forward try scorer in the history of the Six Nations, along with Harden Ordike, Heaslip, and Olivon. He's gonna.
And he's gonna
Do you
bust
think there's
that.
a chance? Do you think there's a chance Sheehan might score one more try in this Six
I
Nations,
I
given
have
he
I have a feeling. I mean, I've got a hunch. He
joined
might he
top
might
try
just get
scorer
lucky on the
last
back of a
year?
line out maul. You know what I mean, and just follow over the line. You know, that's not even the way. I mean, he scores those as well, but it's the runs up the wing are the ones that the ones he gets most. But yeah, that's an amazing stat for sure.
Yeah, so that was just a little update from the the Dan Sheehan fan club, of which I am president and founding member.
Well, that's brilliant, lads. Many thanks again to Keno and Hugo for joining me. Hope to have you back on again soon. Thanks, lads.
Thanks very much, all.
Thanks, Jeff.